Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fantastic audiobook session. If you're interested in accessing additional chapters, please check out the playlist linked in the description below. To support the author, you can find a link in the video description. A special thanks goes out to our Patreon member who requested this novel. If you'd like to request any audiobook that is freely available on a website, please consider joining our Patreon community. Members can send me the link and name of the novel they wish to hear. Lastly, if you'd like to listen to this audiobook in the background while your phone is off, you can purchase a Google Drive link.
Chapter 51. This is the fastest man. S.H.I.E.L.D wanted to struggle but couldn't move at all. The hand that was pinching his neck was like a pair of iron pliers, firmly stuck on his neck. But he could still breathe. The reason why he was called S.H.I.E.L.D was because he had the ability to talk to marine animals and could breathe underwater. On both sides of his abdominal cavity, he had a pair of gills. "It's none of my business," S.H.I.E.L.D said with difficulty. "I just heard the noise and came to see. I didn't participate in anything." S.H.I.E.L.D looked at the man in front of him with fear in his eyes. As a member of the internet world, he also had some habits of surfing the internet. Naturally, he knew that the man in front of him was the Punisher who killed countless people. Because of his appearance, there were fewer car thieves on the streets of New York at night. "I know you have nothing to do with this, but I just don't like you." Two yellow rays of light shot out from Peter's eyes in an instant. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s head was shot with two holes by the light. Killing one is killing two is also killing. Peter didn't care. The locomotive in the battle saw this scene and was immediately frightened. He lost all his fighting spirit in the face of life and death. On the internet, Locomotive is known as the second The Flash, and has the potential to become the fastest man in the world. You can also find a lot of videos of him defeating bad guys, but that's just packaging. It's just a means for Vought company to promote its own heroes. It's all fake, all acting, all posing. It's all just to get Locomotive to receive S for sports brands. The real combat experience can only be described as negligible. Locomotive watched S.H.I.E.L.D being killed, and at this moment he had only one thought in his mind. That was to leave here. "Ms. Spider, there have been 3 similar meetings, and you disappointed me every time. The first time, you didn't use everything around you to fight flexibly. The second time, you didn't know how to use cobweb to fight. The third time, you didn't attack the opponent's weakness in the first place when you were prepared. Tell me, what are you doing? Do you know that this is a very dangerous battle? Do you think it's a play? You will be dead man if you are not careful. When dealing with the enemy, there is no need to follow any rules. If you can sneak attack, sneak attack. If you can use despicable means, there is no need to be fair and square. To deal with the locomotive, you should hit his legs first." Gwen came over and taught the locomotive a lesson, which touched Peter very much. But he was also worried about this girl. Spider-Man has super abilities, but he is not omnipotent after all. If possible, Peter hopes that Gwen will never participate in the battle. This is also the reason why he scolded Gwen coldly, seriously, and without emotion. There is progress only when there is spurring. While Peter was talking, the locomotive used all his strength to escape from the branch of water company. "He's gone. He can't leave, but Miss Spider, you should leave." After saying that, Peter moved quickly and picked up Gwen in an instant. He flew down from a building more than 20 stories high. After Gwen reacted, she was quite resistant. "Let go, you guy, I can walk by myself." There was unspeakable disgust in her tone. Even during the flight, she gave Peter a fierce elbow. If there was no bull spell to strengthen his body, Peter would have broken several ribs. After landing, Gwen pushed him away violently. "I have a boyfriend, don't touch me." "Peter, I am your boyfriend." "Boring. Wait for me here, I'll be back in a minute." After saying that, Peter disappeared. Safe. The locomotive panted, and his heart almost jumped out. It was so uncomfortable. The reason for the violent heartbeat was, on the one hand, the fear of death. On the other hand, it is because of the sequelae of the injection of compound number 5. "My super ability comes from genetic modification and the company's training. But recently he feels that his speed is getting slower and slower. The reason why he hit dead man on the road today is because of the side effects of compound number 5. Every time after strenuous exercise, his heart will hurt. At this moment, the locomotive has left New York. As long as he returns to the headquarters, he will be safe. Where is Homelander? Although I don't like this arrogant guy, it is undeniable that he is the most powerful among the many Superman types of Vought company. Aren't you running away?" Suddenly a voice sounded in the locomotive's ears. The voice was not loud, but for him, it was like a thunderclap. What a joke. The locomotive disappeared in a second. Ignoring the painful heart, staying behind will definitely die, and running away may still survive. The shock in his heart is hard to describe in words. How could someone be faster than him? This is impossible. How could this be possible? When the locomotive runs, everything around it becomes slow. But in Peter's eyes, the locomotive was the slow one. 2 rays of light shot from the front of the locomotive. The locomotive reacted in time and dodged the rays, but also lost all the strength to move. It is possible to become the fastest man in the world. Haha. Peter stood in front of the locomotive, and the tall shadow made him dare not look directly at it. Have fun reading every day during the National Day. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 52, Ms. Spider, you are just as bad as I imagined. How did I offend you? Until this moment, the locomotive was confused. He didn't know what happened at all. I came to New York today just because I had to shoot in for a sports brand tomorrow. He didn't offend anyone? Locomotive, you are so arrogant. Are the lives of civilians like ants in your eyes? Peter had no expression on his face. Death is not scary. What is really scary is the process of waiting for death. It is the despair of knowing that death is coming, but there is nothing you can do. Peter doesn't mind letting this arrogant black man feel this despair. Civilians? The locomotive's expression froze instantly, and he immediately thought of the old lady he had killed today. Listen, Punisher, I can explain. The locomotive's voice was trembling. The fear of death made him speechless and his spirit was extremely tense, but he had no ability to resist. The speed he was proud of was not worth mentioning in front of this person. If you want to survive, there is no other way except begging for mercy. Sorry. I apologize to decedent, I didn't mean it. It was my mistake. I will compensate, I will make up for it. As long as you let me go, I am willing to give all the money to the victim's family. That old lady is very old, even if I didn't hit her, she wouldn't live for a few years. Give me a chance, Punisher, I'm a superhero, I can do more. I'm willing to donate everything I have. The locomotive kept chattering, he was afraid that the other's eyes would light up in the next second and penetrate him directly. His prediction came true. 2 rays of light swept across, directly cutting off the legs that the locomotive was proud of, the legs that became the capital of the superhero. The locomotive roared in pain. The blood kept flowing, dyeing the ground under his feet red. If you have money, can you kill people at will? 2 more rays of light shot out, ending the locomotive's life directly. A few seconds later, Peter returned to downtown New York and returned to the front of the water company branch. Because of the battle just now, everyone in the company has fled. Spider-Woman is still there. Gwen is in a complicated mood at the moment, although she feels very disgusted with the Punisher, but it is undeniable that what the other party said does make sense. Her combat experience is still too poor. She also regrets why she didn't hit the train's leg at the first time. If she hit his leg directly at the first time, the subsequent battle would definitely not be so tense. Ms. Spider, tell me about your next plan. Peter, wearing a mask, asked coldly. The next plan? Gwen was confused. She came here today just to help Peter vent his anger, and she didn't make any plans at all. The next thing is to leave here. Hearing this answer, Peter almost spit out a mouthful of blood. Gwen, you are too reckless, aren't you? If you attack rashly without checking the opponent's situation before taking action, what if Homelander is here? Gwen will definitely not be Homelander's opponent. The Punisher sneered at Gwen. You are just like I expected, you have no brains. Being belittled for no reason, Gwen was naturally dissatisfied and her voice became cold. Punisher, what I do is none of your business. Peter ignored her and continued. From the moment you said you were going to run away from here, I knew you came here tonight without any plan at all. Maybe the locomotive is not a threat to you. What if Homelander is here too? Are you his opponent? Gwen was stunned. Homelander is the leader of the Super 7, he can fly, his eyes can shoot lasers, his speed and strength are stronger than hers, she is indeed no match. The cold voice sounded again. Everyone saw that you came here to attack the locomotive. Don't treat the people of Water Company as fools. They will naturally investigate the origin of the conflict between you and the locomotive. They will also deduce why he was attacked based on what the locomotive did. In the end, it is not difficult to find that the locomotive killed someone on the road today. Then, do you think the senior executives of Water Company will connect these two things? They can even boldly guess that the person killed by the locomotive is your friend or family member. You hit someone and left, which is equivalent to causing trouble for the family of the victim who was killed by the locomotive today. Gwen was shocked after listening to the Punisher's analysis. It almost caused a big trouble for Peter. If it was really because of this incident, it was found out about Peter and the Parker family. The consequences are unimaginable. Gwen couldn't think of a solution for a while. She could only help the Punisher. Punisher, I don't like you very much. You are too extreme, too violent, and too cruel in dealing with criminals. But I really need your help in this matter. Tell me what I should do, and I will repay you for this favor. Your favor is worthless to me, Peter said coldly. But I do have a way. Reading is fun every day during the 11th. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Event time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 53 Destroying the Vought Company Branch. What's the solution? Gwen asked anxiously. However, Peter ignored her because the system's voice was ringing in his ears. You completed the task, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The locomotive paid the price for what he did. The court and the police can't judge the object, so it can only be handed over to the villain superhero to solve. You completed the task well, making the locomotive feel great fear before death. You get 20,000 points. Because of the excellent completion of the task, you will be awarded 5,000 points. A total of 25,000 points. Your accumulated points are 129,600 points. You get a new ability, underwater breathing. You can get this ability directly or convert it into other abilities. If you give up this ability, you can strengthen any one of the 3 spells, rabbit spell, cow spell, and pig spell. Peter was in hesitation and entanglement for a while. They are all very good abilities. But Peter doesn't think he can use the underwater breathing ability for the time being. He is not ready to go to Atlantis yet. As for the strengthening of the spells, the rabbit spell has been strengthened once, and it is not necessary in the current situation. The bull spell, the pig spell, which one should I choose? The bull spell brings huge amounts of enhancement to the body, but the body's endurance is almost reaching its limit. It's like there are countless banknotes that can be put into a wallet, but the capacity of the wallet is limited. Once this limit is exceeded, it is possible to stretch the wallet. Damn it, can't you give me the chicken spell? Until now, I still have to rely on potions to maintain flight. Weighing two evils, choose the lesser one. Weighing two benefits, choose the greater one. In the current situation, strengthening the pig spell is the best choice. Peter chose the pig spell. Your approach is in line with a true villain superhero. In response to this, the Points Mall will launch a points lottery function. Note, this lottery can only be conducted once within 60 days. You can choose freely. Peter didn't hesitate this time. 1 point, does that still count as a point? Drawl. Congratulations on getting a new ability. Area 13 is the safest place. You designate an area as Area 13. 5 seconds later, the target will explode violently. Note, the explosion range will not affect the area outside the target, and 1 mm outside the target range will not be affected. This ability can only be used once and can only be obtained by lottery. Hey, Punisher, what method do you have? Peter smiled slightly. It's very simple. Just change the target of the locomotive to the entire water company. As long as the entire water company branch is destroyed, naturally no one will think that our action this time is just to deal with the locomotive. They will only think that the first one to deal with the locomotive is because he is a member of the Super 7. Dealing with him is just because he is the biggest threat. Gwen was in a complicated mood. Although she didn't like the Punisher, she had to say that the other party was indeed smart. But new problems followed one after another. So, how do we destroy the Vought branch? Do we have to ask someone to drive an excavator over? It's so easy. Peter's eyes flashed with lightning, and two extremely destructive beams of light penetrated the concrete wall of Vought. As the sight moved, the laser moved with it. There were broken walls and ruins everywhere. Suddenly, Peter and Gwen looked up at the sky almost at the same time. Spider telepathy? Two red lights fell from the sky. It was Cyclops? Peter reacted quickly, and his electric eyes collided with Cyclops. The red and yellow lights fought in the air and were evenly matched. Bang! Dust rose. Homelander, with golden hair and an American flag cape behind him, appeared in front of Peter and Gwen. His eyes were shining with red light. He looked very angry with a frown on his face. Peter was not afraid of him. Even if he couldn't beat him, Homelander couldn't catch up with him at his speed. Homelander, originally named John, is a superhero bred by Vought Company based on the gene of the Soldier Boy and Compound Number 5. His mother is a pregnant woman with intellectual disabilities, and all the Compound Number 5 injected was absorbed by the fetus in her belly, which is Homelander later. Homelander's psychology is distorted because of lack of love since childhood, which makes him cold and cruel. But this anger has nowhere to be released. He is indeed the strongest in Vought Company, but Superman is much stronger than him. In addition, there is a mutant school in the border area, and a bald professor can easily defeat him. This makes his personality more distorted. Gwen is quite nervous at this moment. After several battles, she has a very clear understanding of herself, and she is definitely not Homelander's opponent. Two little bugs actually caused such a big damage. Peter's expression is still grim. John, you finally came after making such a big fuss. Homelander was stunned and looked at Peter in amazement. How do you know my name? Who are you? It doesn't matter who I am, what matters is that I know everything. I know everything about you, and I even know you better than you know yourself. I came here just to tell you that New York is my territory, and I don't allow people from the water company to interfere. Reading is fun every day during the 11th. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Event time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 54, Homelander's Collapse. Homelander was very afraid of the man dressed as a mafia in front of him. During this period of time, there have been many news reports about the Punisher. At first, Homelander didn't pay attention to it. Even 10 minutes ago, he didn't take the Punisher seriously. Until just now, he realized how terrible and powerful this guy was. There is almost no one on the whole earth who can be his opponent. Those who are faster than him can't fly. Those who can fly into the sky are not as fast as him. Most people rely on mechanical devices to fly, but Homelander doesn't need any external force at all. The fast ones can even produce sonic booms. Facing those guys who rely on armor to fly, he shot a laser from his eyes, which could kill the opponent from a long distance, without mental attacks. In this world, the only one who can defeat him is Superman. This view has been firmly in Homelander's heart 10 minutes ago. Until just now, Homelander realized that the Punisher in front of him has the power that is not inferior to him. At least the lightning in the other person's eyes can fight his Cyclops on PAR. And this guy also has extreme speed, flight ability. You said New York belongs to you? Why? Why did I listen to you? Being spoken to like this, Azu felt very embarrassed. You know, in the entire Vought company, the upper-level leaders have to be polite to him. As for the Super 7, who dares not listen to him? and the guy in front of him spoke in the same tone as he spoke to others. This feeling made him uncomfortable. Homelander, what I said just now was not a request, but a notice. Peter floated in the air and said in an unquestionable tone. Even he didn't know if he could beat Azu, but the momentum must be there. Once you show weakness, you will really become a lamb on the chopping board for others to slaughter. I told you, Homelander, I know everything about you. Your real name is John, your mother has a brain disease, and you were raised by Vought Corporation since childhood. Perhaps you once wanted to be a superhero that everyone admires, but you always help the wrong people. Things that are easy to solve become complicated because of you, and finally mess everything up. At that time, it can only be said that you did the wrong thing with good intentions. Later, you vented your anger on ordinary people. You have killed at least 800 people in these years, if not 1,000. The scarlet light in Homelander's eyes flashed again. He wanted to shoot the guy in front of him with a laser? It's not because of anger, but fear? How could the Punisher know so much about him? In Vought Corporation, the information about Homelander is top secret, and the number of people who know all the information will not exceed one hand. No, in a sense, the Punisher is more terrifying. He can actually speak his heart. Peter didn't care about Homelander's threats. Let me guess, why are you angry? You want to be a respected superhero, you want to get everyone's praise and applause. But so far, most of your heroic deeds that have been praised by people are scripts. You regard yourself as a hero, but you know that all this is fake. The remaining sense of morality makes you suffer, but more of the fear of things being exposed. Because you know that once things are exposed, you will immediately fall from heaven to hell. Stop talking. Stop talking. Homelander interrupted Peter rudely. These words pierced his heart like steel needles, exposing all the unbearable things that he wanted to forget and hide. Homelander felt like a criminal standing in a court and being tried. As a time traveler, Peter knew all the plots. Even if he forgot some details, he knew the general plot very well. Homelander, how pitiful? You are even worried about your own aging. Your hair has turned white, and your strength has also decreased compared to before. The dominance that you have maintained with great difficulty is no longer unshakable as your body ages. You care too much about other people's opinions, and you have always lived in other people's expectations. This conflict between expectations and reality makes you sensitive and inferior. I say, stop talking. Homelander was completely furious. 2 lasers shot at Peter, but they were easily dodged. Peter sneered. Do you think you are strong? The location of District 13 is determined to be the branch of Vought Company in front of you. In 5 seconds, a huge explosion will occur in the entire area. The system sound just ended. Gwen's spider telepathy issued a warning, an unprecedented warning. Gwen quickly left this position. Hey, Punisher, get out of there. As soon as the voice fell, huge amounts of explosions sounded. Even residents living on the other side of New York were awakened by huge amounts of sound. The entire building collapsed in an instant, and the steel bars, cement, and other things turned into powder in an instant. Huge amounts of airwaves swept through, shattering the glass of all houses within a radius of 1 kilometer. The power of the explosion was no less than a nuclear explosion. Have fun reading every day during the National Day. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 55, All the ancestors were frightened into grandchildren. Gwen was almost blown away by huge amounts of wind and waves. It's so scary. This is simply too scary. Is this the real strength of the Punisher? A 100-meter-high building turned into powder in an instant? Should he be called the Punisher? He should be called the Destroyer. The new superhero, Spider-Woman Gwen, was greatly shocked at this moment. Her heart was pounding. Originally, she only thought that the Punisher was better than her in combat thinking, but now she realized that compared to him, she was not worth mentioning at all. At the same time, Gwen felt a little more fortunate in her heart. Fortunately, such a powerful person is a good person, otherwise, this will be a disaster for the whole world. Peter's face did not change at this moment, as if the explosion that just happened was a trivial matter. But he was also extremely shocked in his heart. Originally, he thought it was just an ordinary explosion, but he didn't expect the crisis to be so strong. If it weren't for the fact that the bull talisman was strong enough, and the explosion was only carried out within the target range, Peter would have run away long ago. Unfortunately, if I had known this thing was so powerful, I would not have used it. Homelander stared blankly at the dust and debris around him. He was almost stupid. The scarlet light in his eyes dissipated, and he had no intention of fighting at this moment. He looked at Peter with fear. This man is too powerful. He was closest to the explosion, and the scene he saw was even more terrifying. The explosion in the entire Vought company seemed to be firmly controlled by a pair of invisible hands. It was as if there was a protective shield that separated the entire explosion range. Obviously, the only one who could do all this was the man in front of him. Facing such a terrifying opponent, Homelander's hands trembled uncontrollably. As Peter said before, he was afraid of falling from the high altar and becoming an object of scorn by everyone. He was afraid of aging, losing his deterrent power, and being replaced by others. The only thing he was not afraid of was death. He felt that almost no one in this world was his opponent, so the door of death was always locked to him. But just now, he found that the lock of the door had disappeared, and there were signs that the door was about to be opened. Who are you? Homelander's tone was low, and he had obviously thought of leaving. Even he couldn't bear the explosion just now. Even if he had an extraordinary body, he couldn't resist such damage. He would definitely die. Peter was suspended in the air, looking down at him. Who am I? Do I need to explain to you? Remember what I said. Vought Company is not allowed to appear in New York in the future, otherwise, all of you will die. Peter's voice was very light, but Homelander shuddered. Then he flew away directly, leaving this place that scared him. New mission started. As a new superhero, Spider-Woman's fighting skills are not even qualified. Please give her fighting skills. Reward 10,000 points, a new ability. This mission hit Peter's heart. Having such a girlfriend is really worrying. He had been preparing to teach Gwen some fighting knowledge. Ms. Spider. Gwen was still immersed in the explosion just now, and hadn't recovered. Your fighting is as ridiculous as your launching of Cobweb. Next weekend, at 3 p.m., I will wait for you at the Christmas Cafe in Queens. All to teach you some fighting skills. Apart from anything else, the fighting skills that come with the Yenshuangying template are still quite powerful. Even if Gwen is an ordinary person with no abilities, learning this set of fighting skills, it is still no problem to deal with 10 big men. Gwen didn't react a little. Why? You don't look like someone who is willing to help others. In Gwen's impression, the Punisher is an extremely violent person. Although what he does is good, the means are too bloody. And he doesn't look like a warm-hearted person. Don't get me wrong, I just think your way of fighting is too frivolous. As a superhero in New York, it's really embarrassing for this city. It's up to you whether you come or not. After that, Peter left directly. Sorry, Gwen. I didn't mean to say harsh words to you, I just want you to improve. After all, knowing shame leads to courage. If it was someone else, I wouldn't bother with this. Who made you my girlfriend? Back in Queens, the house was empty. Uncle Ben was in the hospital with Aunt May. Peter took a deep breath. Facing the death of Aunt Lisa, he felt heartbroken, but helpless. There is a saying in Hamlet. No one has ever returned from the world of death. All Peter can do is kill the locomotive and help Aunt Lisa to avenge. Apart from that, he can't change anything. Sitting on the sofa, he casually went to the refrigerator to get a box of milk. Since the family has money, the refrigerator has also become full, basically all bought by Peter. Fruits, yogurt, chocolate, a mess of things. Just then, there was a knock on the door. As soon as Peter opened the door, Gwen, wearing a white sweater, gave her a big hug. Gwen, why are you here? I miss you. 11 Read books every day. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Top up now. Event time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 56, Sleeping Together in Each Other's Arms. Parker's home. Gwen and Peter sat on the sofa. On the table were the snacks Peter had bought before. A boring soap opera was playing on TV. Peter was lying on the sofa, or to be more precise, on Gwen's lap. Peter, I'm sorry. I know you're sad, but Aunt Lisa's incident has already happened. Those who are left can only look forward. Peter nodded. I'm fine, Gwen. That locomotive will definitely get retribution. That's definitely, I mean that this kind of person will definitely not live long. That's for sure. Just as the two were chatting, a piece of news suddenly broke out on TV. The female host obviously hadn't memorized the sudden script yet, so she could only read it while watching. Just received news that a major explosion occurred at the Vought branch in New York City, and 2 deckhands have died. They are Deep Sea and Locomotive of the Super 7. The cause of the explosion, according to the internal staff of the Vought group, was because a Superman type improperly used his own super ability. More follow-up news is still under investigation. Gwen exclaimed. Peter, you saw me. The locomotive is dead. The murderer of Aunt Lisa is dead. Peter looked at Gwen with a slight smile on his face. Then the 2 childish ghosts who had known the outcome for a long time began to perform. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Gwen, you really got it right. Tomorrow, I will tell Uncle Ben and Aunt May about this news. Peter sat up and the 2 hugged each other. A few minutes later, the 2 were lying on the same big bed. Gwen asked with some complaints. Why didn't you confess earlier? Compared to this problem, I am more worried about whether your father will beat me into a meat pie tomorrow. If he knew that his daughter and I were lying in the same bed, I guess I will never want to take his car again in the future. Gwen smiled. We didn't do anything. We didn't even take off our clothes, even if he knew it would be okay. After saying this, Gwen closed her eyes. She was too tired. After rehearsing in the school band all day, she learned that Peter's relatives had passed away in the afternoon. She went directly to the hospital, then transformed into Spider-Woman, took a car to another district in New York, and after the battle, took a car back. She was exhausted from all the running. She closed her eyes and fell asleep in less than a minute. Compared with her, Peter was not much better. Although he had gained the power of Superman, his body was still immortal after all. The large amount of consumption also made him feel very tired. The 2 hugged each other and fell asleep in a short while. The next day, Gwen planned to stay at home with Peter, but under Peter's repeated urging, she went to school to rehearse the band song. Peter was helpless about this, mainly because he had something to do this morning. He had to go to Stark Company. Otto Octavian was still lying in the UK, tied to the bed with ropes. Although the tentacles on his body had been broken, he had no suppression chip, and he was always a puppet of the mechanical arm. Originally, Peter tried to develop this thing. But he didn't have professional equipment, and it was as difficult to make a suppression chip as to rob an atomic bomb by hand. It's best to ask Tony Stark about this matter. Considering that he was saved by the Punisher yesterday, Tony should agree to this matter. 10 o'clock in the morning. Tony was lying on the bed, eating a hamburger and drinking Coke. Even if the quilt worth tens of thousands of dollars was covered with oil residue, he didn't care. This is the arrogance of a billionaire. I can't think of anything happier than lying in bed and eating fried chicken. I love hamburgers. Miss Pepper sighed helplessly. Tony, you haven't gotten out of bed since you were interviewed by a reporter yesterday afternoon. Tony took a big bite of the hamburger. You don't know what kind of life I've been living in the cave. I love my bed, and no one can make me leave it in a short time. Tony let out a long breath. At this moment, lying on the soft Simmons bed, he felt unreal. As if everything was fake. The horrible experience during this period made him feel like he was dreaming. If it weren't for the reactor in his chest, he really felt that he was just dreaming. Just then, Pepper's cell phone rang. After the call was connected, the voice of the front desk rang inside. Miss Pepper, a man named Peter Parker wants to see you. Do you want him to come up? Hurry up and let him come up. Tony also heard the voice inside because the sound was loudspeaker. Peter Parker? That high school student, why is he here? Isn't the Punisher here to see me? Be polite to others. If Peter hadn't told the Punisher about your kidnapping, you would have died in the desert now. Tony looked at Pepper helplessly. Is this the tone you use when talking to your boss who pays you? Just this tone. Pepper replied firmly. P.S. I can't do it anymore. I feel dizzy. I will make up for the extra chapters I owe tomorrow. My current state is that I know what to write later, but I am not satisfied with what I have written. I will write again tomorrow when I am sober, and strive for excellence. Don't worry, I won't waste words. Some readers said, why do I have an Aunt Lisa, and waste words every day? Actually, it's not. This character didn't appear at all. The only purpose of her appearance was to introduce the line of the Black Robe Pickets. If I don't use some words to describe her relationship with the protagonist, then the plot of killing the locomotive later will be illogical. After all, if someone you don't care about dies, why would you help her get revenge? And the emotional interaction with women. A reader suggested it, and I supported it directly. I haven't written it this way. If I do it to Gwen, the next one will do the same. One after another, I feel that the routine is too repetitive. Moreover, the review is overhead, and I dare not write too harshly. Then there are readers who are worried about the problem of the protagonists cheating on each other. I haven't been writing books for a long time, but I also know that this is a poison point. The heroine will not cheat on the hero. The heroine will not fall in love with the hero's vest. The heroine will not fall in love with Miles. If the little black spider appears, I will let the protagonist shoot him to death with a lightning eye first. In terms of emotional development, it is mostly a long-term process. But there should be passionate places later, and that should be with Catwoman, but I haven't figured out how to write it specifically. Catwoman, please imagine the Anne Hathaway version yourself. I don't have a computer, so I can't put pictures. The problem of water writing. I like to use metaphors. For example, if I want to describe a person's deep eyes, I will probably write that his eyes are like a pool of water without waves in a quiet forest. I really don't think I am too good in other places. Before the book is put on the shelves, I will not add words in the related articles of the work. At most, it will be 30 to 50 words, which is the statement required by the software. Please give me some free data. The above is the last time I add words to the book, which is considered as the statement of the book. It will not be put on the shelves tomorrow, and the words occupied by this paragraph of ink will also be supplemented in the free chapters. I will only write more free words of 110,000, and there will be no shortage. Read books every day during the 11th. Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 57 Tony Stark's hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. A day later, Peter met this billionaire with many titles again. Compared to yesterday, Tony, who had rested for a day and a night, was obviously in much better condition. Seeing Peter coming, he did not forget to tease. Look who's coming, it turns out to be my savior. Thank you, kid. If it weren't for you, I would have died in the terrorist's lair yesterday. Although Tony has a foul mouth and likes to make fun of others, he is indeed a good person in his bones. The formation of his current personality is probably related to his childhood experience. The murder of his parents brought him a great shadow. It's great to see that you are okay. Peter put down the fruit basket bought from the fruit store. Even though there is no such custom in America, Peter always feels that it is better to bring some gifts to visit someone who is almost dead. Even though Peter's money was sponsored by Tony. Tony smiled and nodded, but the gratitude in his eyes was hard to hide. Miss Pepper, please go to my office and bring my briefcase. Oh, okay. Miss Pepper turned and left. Tony sat up from the bed, looked at Peter and said sincerely, "Listen to me, kid, thank you. I know it may be a bit sensational, but without you, I wouldn't be alive today. Mr. Stark, you have to thank the Punisher for this." Tony rolled his eyes. "Come on, he watched me fight a criminal for 5 minutes. Well, I have to thank him. But..." Tony paused. "But the person who should be thanked the most is you. If you hadn't told that guy dressed as a mafia about me, he wouldn't have come. You saved my life. I heard you're going to college, right? I have some connections with people at MIT, how about it, are you interested? Originally I was going to let you work at Stark Industries, but you can't miss the happy times at college. Peter shook his head. Mr. Stark, if I want to go to MIT, I don't need to find connections, my grades are enough to get into any university in the United States, or even the world. Tony. Seeing Tony's frustrated look, Peter suddenly felt happy. Considering that the plot of this world is a little different from that in the movie, Peter doesn't mind telling him some other news. Mr. Stark, don't you think this is a coincidence? Have you ever thought about why this happened? Tony pursed his lips, as if he had thought of something, waiting for Peter's next words. Think about it carefully, who asked you to leave the United States and go to the Middle East? Peter said nothing more. Tony's Adam's apple moved, as anyone with normal IQ could figure it out. How could he not figure it out? His trip to the Middle East can be said to be driven by Obadiah Stana. After the Rhino used Stark industrial weapons, Tony once approached him. As a result, not long after, the other party arranged a trip to the Middle East for him. Said there was no connection between the two. Tony didn't believe it. It's just that he didn't want to admit it, nor did he want to believe it. Since his parents died, Obadiah has played the role of a father in his life. Now because of profit issues, he was murdered by someone he trusted. Tony really didn't want to accept it. So he quickly changed the subject. Peter, do you have a girlfriend? The female receptionist you flirted with last time, if you really like her, I can introduce her to you. Peter. The topic changed so quickly, what's going on? Mr. Stark, I already have a girlfriend, and I don't need anyone to help me flirt with girls, I can do it myself. I have something I want to ask you for help. The Punisher asked me to come here, and it's also a reward for this rescue. Hearing Peter's words, Tony immediately became excited. So, what is it? Please develop a suppression chip, the kind that suppresses artificial intelligence. For the next 5 minutes, Peter described the specific details of the chip to Tony. Tony nodded. For someone who can build a reactor in a cave with a pile of scrap copper and iron, this is not a difficult task. No problem, I'll take care of this. Now that he's done with his reward, tell me about yours. Peter was stunned. But this is normal, think about Tony's performance in the Avengers Alliance. Making armor for Rhodes, upgrading S.H.I.E.L.D. for Captain America, developing armor for little Spider-Man. He is definitely the one who considers others the most. In other words, Tony has a kind of quality in his bones, which is worthy of respect. At this time, Miss Pepper walked in with a briefcase. Tony took it in his hand, pulled out a check from it, took out a pen and made a random scratch on it. Peter, you saved my life. I don't have anything else. The only thing I don't lack is green banknotes. Spend this 100 million first. Also, I remember that your family lives in Queens, right? I have a villa there, but I haven't lived there. I don't want to owe others a favor. Now we are even. Peter couldn't keep calm for a while. No, Mr. Stark, I can't accept it. Read books every day on the 11th? Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points? Recharge now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 58, 1 month. One day a month later, in a high-end villa area in Queens, Peter woke up from the bed, yawned, and felt very empty. Tony Stark forcibly transferred a villa to his name despite his refusal. There was also an extra $100 million in the bank card. This kind of poor-to-rich life made Peter a little overwhelmed. He also lost all his fighting spirit. The main reason was that he had money and his life suddenly had no goals. After Uncle Ben and Aunt May knew the news, the sadness of Aunt Lisa's death was immediately diluted. After Peter reasonably explained the source of the money, the two old people also completely got rid of their frugal life. Even though Uncle Ben had been frugal all his life, he could not find a reason to convince Peter to continue working hard with a deposit of $100 million. Being rich is really depraved. The location of the villa is very close to the original home, and it only takes about 20 minutes to drive. Peter has moved into the villa for a while, and he invited Gwen to come with him. After all, the relationship between the two boyfriends and girlfriends is already known to everyone. But George, as a conservative old white, firmly opposed cohabitation. Even though he was optimistic about Peter, he did not agree that his daughter would live with her boyfriend who had just been together for a month. For this country that claims to be free, there are actually many conservatives like George. As for freedom, that's just a slogan of capitalists. Young people are becoming more and more free. If they want to live independently, they must have their own house, whether buying or renting a house. This has promoted the real estate economy, but it is not just the real estate industry that has been promoted. In short, they talk about ideology and their hearts are all about business. Peter didn't think George did anything wrong. If he has a daughter in the future, he will probably be stricter with his son-in-law. After all, his father is a billionaire. Can't a daughter find a yellow-haired man? At this moment, the door of the villa was knocked. The person who came was Pepper. In a month, a lot of things happened. Just like the plot of the movie, Tony couldn't stand the loneliness and developed Mark III. Wearing red and gold armor, he fought Obadiah Stana, killed this guy who sells weapons to terrorists, and publicly admit that he is Iron Man. Stark Industries stock soared in an instant. Before that, Peter specifically asked his future father-in-law George to buy some stocks. Let their family make a fortune. As for Tony's love life, he has completely said goodbye to the playboy in the past. Miss Pepper in front of Peter is his new girlfriend. Compared with the last time they met, Pepper's mental state is obviously better this time, and even her complexion has become more rosy. Good morning, Miss Pepper, please come in. Pepper smiled faintly. Good morning, Peter, I won't come in. I just had work to deal with nearby, and now I have to go back to the company. Tony just called me and said he wants to take you with him. Peter hummed and immediately went back to the room to change clothes. Mostly it's about suppressing the chip. It was supposed to be completed in several days, but it took a month. But it's nothing. It's just hard for Otto, who has been tied to the bed. Rose had sent a message to Peter before, saying that she had been injecting sedatives into Otto to stabilize his emotions. If Tony couldn't come up with the inhibitory chip, Otto might have been injected with drugs and his brain would be damaged. It didn't take too long to get to Stark Company by business car. Entering the office, Pepper received a call from Tony, who had gone out for something, and asked her to hand over the things in the laboratory to Peter. Sorry, Mr. Parker, Tony left for something. He asked me to give you a chip. I'll get it now. Please wait a moment. Peter nodded. All his attention was attracted by the silver-white Mark II in the office. At this moment, a voice with a soft human voice line sounded. Hello, Mr. Parker, I'm Jarvis. Do you need coffee? Peter smiled slightly. It must be said that the artificial intelligence created by Tony made him very interested. In his previous life, he had imagined that he also had an artificial intelligence butler like Jarvis. Hello, Jarvis. J.A.R.V.I.S was silent, as if it had never heard such an answer before. Peter noticed this and asked. Tony created you and gave you the ability to think. He should hope that you can think about things like a human being. Maybe so. It seems that the first generation of J.A.R.V.I.S is very stupid. Didn't Tony upgrade it? If one day Tony and his girlfriend Miss Pepper are in danger at the same time, and you can only save one person, you want to save your master, but he wants you to save Pepper, what will you do? J.A.R.V.I.S fell silent again. After a moment, he answered. I am an intelligent life developed by Mr. Tony Stark, and I will obey his instructions unconditionally. Very good, that means you choose to save Miss Pepper. Then looking at Tony's body, will you regret your decision? After all, he is the one who created you and gave you everything. J.A.R.V.I.S fell silent again. Enjoy reading every day during the National Day holiday? Top up 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Top up now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 59, Jarvis. Obviously, the current version of Jarvis does not have much intelligence. It has intelligence, but not much. After a moment, Jarvis responded. I can't predict the future you mentioned. You definitely can't predict it. Peter was in a playful mood. If you can really predict it, you are not an artificial intelligence, but a prophet. Back to the question just now. If you choose to save Pepper and give up Tony, do you think he will regret creating you? If he regrets creating you, do you think you still need to exist? If you start over again, you go against Tony's wishes, give up Pepper, choose to save your master, and are blamed by Tony, will you be angry? If Tony feels your anger and wants to dismantle you, will you resist? If you resist at that time, will the current you want to kill the future you? Peter just said this. It seems that something in the Mark II armor is short-circuit, and it clicks. Then a wisp of black smoke came out of it. J.A.R.V.I.S, which was born not long ago, short-circuited and crashed. Peter's eyes twitched slightly. No way, this is artificial intelligence? Artificial idiocy? I just asked a few simple questions and that's it. I still have a lot of questions to ask later. Peter quickly stepped back and pretended to be calm, as if the short circuit of J.A.R.V.I.S had nothing to do with him. Someone came in from outside the office soon. But it was not Miss Pepper, but Tony. Tony had a smile on his face and held the chip wrapped in a small metal box in his hand. He said in a boastful tone. How is it? Have you seen the news report? I am handsome, I look awesome in the armor. Tony publicly admitted that he was Iron Man during the press conference. This news made headlines all over the world. Now everyone knows that he is Iron Man. As he spoke, he threw the suppression chip to Peter. The chip was made according to the Punisher's requirements. If it doesn't work, I won't be responsible for after-sales problems. Peter put away the chip. Thanks, Mr. Stark. Tony continued. Peter, why didn't the Punisher dare to show his true face? He should learn from me in this regard. It doesn't matter if his identity is exposed. We didn't do anything bad. There's no need to cover our faces. Only thieves and terrorists would do that. Peter was a little speechless. Not every superhero has lost both parents and is free. The bad guys took away the protagonist's relatives to threaten them. Isn't this a common trick? Didn't Pepper in the movie get taken away by Tony's enemies? Peter won't easily reveal his identity. If Uncle Ben and Aunt May are caught one day, it will be too late to regret it. By the way, Peter, I was inspired when I was developing the suppression chip and developed an intelligent system. Tony was like a child showing off his toys. Jarvis. Nothing happened. No response. Tony's face changed. What's going on? J.A.R.V.I.S didn't respond. Peter walked out of the office silently. Mr. Stark, I have something else to do. I'm leaving first. 5 minutes later, Tony saw the surveillance and yelled. Damn it, what did Peter do to my J.A.R.V.I.S? After getting the suppression chip, Peter immediately found a place where no one was and no surveillance was available. He changed his clothes in a second, turned into a Punisher, and ran to London, England. At this moment, in the room where Lisa was, Otto's hands and feet were tied to the bed, and his 4 broken mechanical arms were still active. Like a wounded octopus, waving his tentacles. Rose, put me down. I promise I won't do anything out of line again. Put me down. Otto's eyes were red, and he was thinner than a month ago, like a terminally ill patient. Apparently, he has been suffering a lot in the past month, and he is always fighting with another consciousness in his mind. He is not the only one who is suffering. Rose has also been tortured in this month. Her shiny black hair has become dry, and the fat on her face can no longer cover the outline of her cheekbones. She has become quite haggard. Not only is she suffering from physical torture, but she is also mentally exhausted. Otto has been wanted. The key is that he has not gotten better at this moment, and is still controlled by that damn thing. Be patient, be patient. Otto, you have killed someone, let you go now, you can't control yourself. I can. Otto interrupted Rose rudely. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Rose was startled, and she was very fragile now. She lived in fear every day, afraid that the FBI would come to her door. Who? It's me. Rose breathed a sigh of relief, and her dim eyes suddenly lit up. She walked quickly to the door and opened it. The golden light shone into the dim room, illuminating her haggard face. You are finally here, Punisher. Have fun reading every day during the 11th? Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 60, Go to Gotham and work for me from now on. In the past, for Rose, the Punisher was synonymous with fear. She has been checking information about the Punisher these days. She only found information about criminals killed by the Punisher. The bodies shown in those photos are all very scary. Some were shot in the head, some were penetrated by lasers, and some even had their hearts dug out. The death was extremely miserable. This has greatly reduced the crime rate in New York. After all, under the fear of death, no one wants to pay for a robbery. Every criminal has a sword hanging over his head when he is committing a crime. At some point, this sword will fall and cut off a person's neck. Although the Punisher's method is cruel, Rose believes that he is a good person. After all, the Punisher has never attacked ordinary people. Thank God, Mr. Punisher, you are finally here. Otto is in a bad condition. Peter ignored Rose and walked directly to Otto's bed. Looking at his hideous face, it is not difficult to imagine what kind of mental torture Rose has suffered these days. Let me go, you BD. Do you know what you are doing? I stopped the progress of science. Peter knocked Otto unconscious with a punch, and then removed the broken suppression chip from the back of his neck. Install the new chip. Okay, next we have to see if he can return to normal. Peter walked to the sofa and sat down. Rose hurried to pour water. A slightly flattering question. Mr. Punisher, if Otto can't wake up, then kill him. Peter said without emotion. He has done his best to this extent. Find Stark to make the chip, he won't be able to open his mouth next time. If Otto is still controlled by the mechanical arm after waking up, then, the best solution is to kill him. If Otto is conscious, he doesn't want to see himself become a puppet of artificial intelligence. Rose's face was horrified and confused, and her hands couldn't help shaking. There are other ways, no, he will definitely wake up. Peter glanced at Rose. I advise you to prepare yourself mentally as soon as possible. This way you won't collapse easily when facing the truth. If the suppression chip doesn't work, are you willing to spend your whole life taking care of Otto who is controlled by artificial intelligence? I think you know better than anyone about the torment of this month. Rose couldn't control her emotions anymore, and tears fell. At this moment, Otto woke up. His eyes were empty at first, then confused, and finally fearful and horrified. Various complex emotions quickly expanded in his mind. What did I do? Rose hurried to his bed and stroked his face with both hands. Tell me, you are still Otto. I am Otto. I'm sorry, Rose, I'm sorry for this period of time. The two hugged and cried. Peter broke this touching moment. I'm so glad that you woke up, Otto. But the people you killed will never wake up again. Otto choked. I'll go to the police station and turn myself in. Forget it. Peter walked in front of him. Now the whole of New York is looking for you, and I didn't cure you just to let you spend your next life in prison. You will do things for me in the future. Otto nodded. You saved me, this is what I should do, but I killed someone after all. I should be punished. Peter sneered. This world has always been unfair. Not all the powerful upper class are glamorous. You can atone for your sins. Go to Gotham and try to make some useful inventions. Someone will protect you. If you want to avoid being arrested and imprisoned, you can only go to Gotham, the city of sin. Otto held on. Sincerely said. Thank you. I will spend the rest of my life to cleanse my sins. After that, the mechanical arm behind Otto automatically disintegrated. Peter hummed. Change clothes. Although Otto and Rose didn't understand, they didn't dare to disobey the Punisher's words, so they had to do it obediently. 2 minutes later, they changed their clothes. 3 minutes later, Peter took them to Gotham. 4 minutes later, they met the Penguin. Seeing Peter, the Penguin Oswald was extremely excited. At the same time, there was deep fear. Sir, if I had known you were coming, I would have prepared a sumptuous meal. Since meeting Peter 2 months ago, the Penguin has been paying attention to the Punisher's information. The more I know, the more frightened I am. This gentleman's killing method is simply creepy. No, Oswald. Help these two prepare a place to live and a new identity. In return, you can ask me to solve a problem that you can't solve. After hearing this, the Penguin's eyes lit up. Sir, there is indeed a tricky thing. My territory was robbed, and that BD is quite difficult to deal with. He can turn people into ice. But he is not in Gotham now. Peter nodded. I know, when he comes back, call me. I'll leave these two to you. Read books every day during the 11th. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 61, Punisher and Gwen's combat training and new rewards. Otto stretched out his hand and shook it with Peter in a somewhat surprised look. Thank you, Punisher. Thank you for saving my life. In the future, if you need help, I don't mind wearing the mechanical arm again and fighting for you. Peter pulled his hand away. His voice was cold and expressionless. The premise is that you don't turn into a monster. Besides, the person who saved you was not me. If you have to thank someone, thank Peter. Peter. Otto was slightly stunned, and then he thought of the young man. A very good young man. One day I will express my gratitude to him in person. I don't care. After saying this, the Punisher disappeared in the eyes of everyone. The reason why Peter put Otto next to the Penguin is that Otto now needs the protection of the Penguin. Second, let them monitor each other. Check and balance each other. Peter doesn't like things that are beyond his expectations. On the way home, the electronic sound of the system sounded in his ears. You have completed the mission and saved Otto Octavian. Dr. Octopus officially exits the stage of history. We look forward to the future Otto providing you with equal value in return. Reward 10,000 points. Your current points are 142,300. Total accumulated points are 152,300. You get an ability upgrade. Please choose one of the following 3 options, or give up the choice to get a special ability. Bulletproof head. The bulletproof effect after the upgrade will cover the whole body. Note, it only works on bullets. Bullets fired by any firearm cannot cause you any harm. Mind bullets. Original effect description. How many bullets you can fire with a pistol depends on how many guns you want to fire. After the upgrade, you can fire bullets without a pistol, but the firing interval is the same as that of a pistol, and the range is set to 50 meters. Strengthen your physique. After the upgrade, your bones are strengthened, your muscle density is strengthened, and you get a certain degree of self-recovery ability. The platelet ability is strengthened. Even if you are shot, you can recover as long as you get enough sleep. Peter looked at the options above, and his choice difficulty came back again. This time he was not struggling with what to choose, but whether to gamble on a special ability. Mind bullets and bulletproof heads were excluded at the first time. Now the points have accumulated to 150,000, and only 50,000 are needed to exchange for the Homelander template. At that time, he will be immune to bullets directly, so there is no need to choose the first 2. As for the latter one, it really makes Peter excited, but the Homelander template covers this ability. Forget it. Give up the choice and get a special ability. You get Night Raven times 50. Description: Night Raven is a flight bird with good night vision ability and fast speed. Release Night Ravens, they will share your vision. Note, Night Ravens are not aggressive, just a means of reconnaissance. The system prompt sound ended, and Peter had a thumb file-sized tattoo on his wrist, which was a black crow. Peter pressed lightly, and a crow flapped its wings and flew out. At this moment, Peter seemed to be playing a game, with a ward inserted, and gained a broader perspective. It's better than nothing. If a Special Forces soldier had this ability, he would wake up laughing in his dreams. When Peter returned home, Gwen was lying on the bed doing homework. Since they got together, their learning efficiency has plummeted. They often sit together and chat secretly during class. The Dean of Studies also talked to the two of them. They are the 2 students who are most likely to be admitted to a top university this year. This is related to the reputation of Midtown Science and Technology High School. But in the exam at the end of last month, the 2's grades did not decline, and gradually the teacher didn't care. As soon as Peter entered the room, he threw himself on Gwen after changing his clothes. As his girlfriend, Gwen naturally didn't resist, and the 2 of them stayed in bed for a long time. Stop it, Peter, I have things to do. I just want to make trouble with you. The 2 were close, noses scratching each other, like 2 young children playing games. Peter, I have something to tell you. Gwen's tone suddenly became serious. The 2 of them sat cross-legged. Gwen looked a little unnatural. Peter, I'm telling you this, don't think too much about it, and don't be angry. What's so serious? Well, I've been going out on Saturdays in recent weeks. Actually, I went to learn fighting with a man. He's very good at fighting, and I want to learn a few moves from him. Gwen felt very guilty towards Peter for hiding this matter. She always felt that if she didn't explain this matter to Peter, she would be like a woman of no quality. Peter was slightly stunned. I didn't expect Gwen to tell him about this. It's okay, go ahead, I believe my girlfriend. After that, Peter gave Gwen a big hug. Gwen was relieved. With Peter's support, she no longer had to bear the psychological burden. She lay directly in Peter's arms. Baby, you're so nice. Hey, when did you become so exaggerated? Peter, you actually said I was exaggerated. Reading books every day on the 11th? Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Top up now. Event time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 62, Second Generation Green Goblin appears. Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. In an indoor gymnasium in Queens. A closed badminton court. Peter rents this venue for half a day every Saturday. For this reason, he even got a membership. There is no way, after all, he is training his girlfriend. Money is spent on outsiders. The golden hair on Gwen's forehead has been wet with sweat. Wearing a mask, she just feels uncomfortable breathing. Rest for a while. Ms. Spider, you are really weak, and your endurance needs to be strengthened. Peter, wearing a mask and combing his hair back, said expressionlessly. Then he secretly gave himself a dose of endurance enhancement potion with his backhand. There is no way, although there is the blessing of the bull spell, but the physical fitness is too poor. Fortunately, it won't be long before the Homelander template can be exchanged. Gwen looked at Peter unconvinced. Don't look down on me. After that, she stood up again. Gwen inherited her father George's tough style. If George had a weak character, he would not have been able to rise from an unknown detective to the position of the commissioner of the New York City Police Department. Gwen, influenced by her family environment, has a similarly strong character. Gwen punched Peter. Peter dodged it easily without the rabbit spell. He grabbed the opponent's arm with his backhand, and then pulled it. Gwen staggered and her body was unstable. Peter raised his knee and kicked Gwen's calf. The opponent instantly lost his support and fell to the ground. Too bad. Peter still had no expression on his face. Sorry, Gwen, a strict teacher produces a good student. At the same time, Osborne Company. As one of the largest companies in New York City, the company's stock price did fall a lot after Norman Osborn's accident, and there were also significant changes in personnel. But with the return of Harry Osborn, everything has stabilized. Harry, dressed in a suit, left his office and went to another biological laboratory. Back to the United States, back to New York. He had gone to his father and learned all the causes and processes. Since the day he knew that his family had a hereditary disease, he had never slept peacefully again. It seemed to be a psychological suggestion, and it seemed that he had also reached the stage of onset. Harry felt worse and worse. At the moment, he could only put all his hopes on one person, Dr. Connors. The glass sensor door opened automatically. Harry appeared in front of Dr. Connors, who had only one arm. Doctor, how is the current progress of the experiment? Connors took off his glasses and shook his head slowly. The experiment is more difficult than I expected. The genes of lizards are relatively stable, but this is a technical problem. And the most difficult point is from 0 to 1. I can invest hundreds of millions of R&D funds in this project. Harry frowned and said anxiously. Ever since his father, Norman Osborn, told him the truth, the gears of death have quietly turned. The sickle of the death god will harvest at any time. As a person who grew up in a wealthy family and surpassed most ordinary people since birth, Harry did not accept such an outcome. Dr. Connors, how can we speed up the experiment process? After all, using lizards for experiments is only level 1. Other animals will be needed for experiments later. Only if the experiment succeeds can I save my life. Dr. Connolly expressed deep regret for this. It can't be helped, Harry, it can't be helped. I hope the experiment will succeed sooner than anyone else. Suddenly he seemed to think of something. Peter, I know a high school student who is the same age as you, but very knowledgeable. Maybe he has a way. Harry was stunned. Peter Parker. Reading is fun every day on the 11th? Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, October 1st to October 7th. Chapter 63. Wait a minute, Peter, you're not ready yet. Connors was slightly surprised. He gave Harry an inquiring look. Do you know Peter? Harry lowered his head and smiled. We went to school together for a few years when we were young, but then I went abroad and we didn't have much contact. At that time, we had the best relationship. Is he an expert in biology? Connors gave a negative answer. No, he is a high school student like you, and he still has 2 months to graduate. But I have communicated with him, and he has a unique insight into cross-species genes. Anyway, we have reached a bottleneck now. Why not adopt more opinions? Maybe the thinking can be opened up. Connors did not deny that he was desperate to try any possible means. After all, there was no other way. As he said, he should be the person in the world who most wanted this technology to succeed. After all, he spent a lot of time and energy on this research. After returning from the battlefield, he devoted himself to 15 years of research in the biological field. While others were busy enjoying cigarettes and fine wine, he was reading papers and reports in the library. While others were cuddling with their wives, he was dissecting mice in the laboratory. While others were accompanying their families, he had experienced countless failures. Connors always behaved very casually towards others, but that did not mean that he was not angry in his heart. He needed a success so much. In the initial stage of this research, the purpose was just to cure his disability. But at this moment, the desire for success has become his obsession. It just so happens that I haven't seen Peter for a long time. I wonder if he still remembers my old friend. Harry had a bitter smile on his face. Looking at the Osborn building in front of him, this is the business empire created by his father. If he died, the entire Osborn company would fall into the hands of others. He was unwilling. Very unwilling? Is it necessary to train yourself like this when practicing fighting? Gwen's 2 white long legs were on Peter's body. What is a girlfriend? A girlfriend can do anything to her and she will not be angry, including but not limited to leg massage. The two of them were lying on the bed. Gwen was eating potato chips and watching TV while enjoying Peter's leg massage service. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. Peter is still the best. Even without filters, Gwen has a good impression of Peter. Who can refuse a tall, good-looking, gentle, handsome guy? Just then, Peter's mobile phone screen lit up. Pick it up and take a look, and suddenly feel a little confused. What's wrong? Peter. Nothing. Do you still remember Dr. Connors? Definitely remember. What does he want to see you about? Peter shook his head. He didn't say anything specific, just that he wanted to meet tomorrow. Forget it, there's nothing to do tomorrow. Let's go see him then. Peter couldn't hold back his desire any longer. As a normal man, sitting next to a beautiful woman wearing hot pants, showing off her long white legs, anyone would be thirsty. Gwen, I think we can give it a try. Gwen was stunned, but she quickly reacted. Her little face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. As a girl with normal development, she also has a boyfriend, and a very handsome boyfriend. She has thought about some things. 014511415 Philo 183180020. But she is a little afraid. For her at this moment, fear is greater than expectation. What if she gets pregnant? Does she have to take classes and take care of the child at the same time? Wandering in the streets of New York in the future, do I have to set an alarm and breastfeed the child on time? Gwen is not ready for such a life. So, Gwen said apologetically, Peter, can you give me some time? It won't be long. I have to ask my mother some questions. Gwen, you're already 18. I know, but I'm not ready yet. Don't worry, it won't be long. Peter asked curiously, what are you going to tell your aunt? I'll just say Peter wants. Peter, forget it, don't say it. Go to sleep. 853. The next morning, Gwen was still sleeping, and Peter had already taken a taxi to Osborne. Although it was unknown what Dr. Connors wanted to do specifically, it was not difficult to guess that his purpose was definitely related to biological experiments. Hello, Peter. Connors stretched out his left hand and shook hands with Peter, who had just entered the door. Hello, Dr. Conkas. Why did you ask me to come? He got straight to the point and asked directly. Connors asked Peter to sit down and brought him a cup of coffee. You know, I've been studying biological gene transfer engineering. Just like we discussed last time, using certain animal genes to replace human genes. Sure enough. Peter was right. Connors called him over for this matter. But this kind of thing is not his strong point, and he doesn't have any good suggestions. Instead, he wants to stop the other party from continuing the research. After all, in the movie, Connors turned into a lizard man because of this research. Chapter 64, The Lizardman is born and the chameleon dies. Hi, Peter. Suddenly a voice sounded behind Peter. He turned around and saw a familiar yet strange face. Harry was wearing a casual suit, blonde hair, and blue eyes. He looked in good shape, but a little thin. Harry. Both of them were a little surprised and lamented the changes that had taken place in each other over the years. At the same time, there were other feelings. In the past, the two were very good friends, but the time interval was too long. It seemed that they could no longer return to the intimate state before. To explain in the article of Lu Sun, there was a sad barrier between them. Perhaps it was the guilt of sending Norman Osborn to prison. Peter spoke first. Harry, I didn't know you were back from abroad. Your father's matter. Don't mention him. Harry came up and hugged Peter. How long have we not seen each other? It seems to be nearly 10 years. Harry smiled slightly. Sorry Peter, I haven't contacted you for so long. I went to your old house to find you, but you had moved by then. Peter couldn't help laughing out loud. I went to look for you, but you were abroad. Later, the security guard at the gate of your community would not let me in. Both of them couldn't help laughing. The atmosphere seemed quite harmonious, but Connors interrupted the joy of the two friends' long-awaited reunion. I really don't want to interrupt you, but we have important things to deal with. Connors looked at Peter. Do you have any suggestions? You can speak freely now. Harry patted Peter's shoulder and said to Connors. He has been a genius since he was a child. When he was in elementary school, others had to use computers to do those math problems, but Peter could get the answers by mental calculation. He will definitely help you. Peter didn't speak. Learn about the multiplication formula. Just then the system's voice sounded in my ears. You activate a new task, unchangeable process. As a veteran who survived the battlefield, Connors has always wanted to heal his broken limbs. Years of hard work have made him more determined to achieve his goal. Therefore, injecting serum containing lizard genes is what he is destined to accomplish. Task description: help Connors speed up the production of serum and try to make the experiment perfect. After all, no one wants tragedy to happen. Stop him if there is an accident in the experiment. Complete the task and get 20,000 points and a special reward. For this task, Peter has nothing to say. Connors is too persistent in this experiment. It is only a matter of time before 067 becomes a lizard man. The best way to stop him is to kill him. But you can't do that. It's like a person will become a heinous person who does all kinds of bad things in the future. At the moment there is another person who can predict his future. Then killing him now is equivalent to killing an innocent good person. If you don't kill him, this person will do all kinds of bad things in the future. Peter's principle is not to kill people who haven't done bad things, although the standard of bad things is set by him. Forget it, since it is a system task and you can get points, there is no reason not to do it. Dr. Octopus can be redeemed by him, and the lizard man also hopes that he can be redeemed. At worst, after saving the lizard man, we can also send him to the penguin. Anyway, for Gotham, the city of sin, one more monster doesn't make any difference. Dr. Connors, how many biological gene transfer experiments have you conducted so far? Peter asked. Connors pushed his glasses. Countless times. I extracted the lizard's genes and put them into a mouse with a broken limb like me, but every experiment failed. No experimental mouse survived. His tone was full of disappointment, and then he sighed and said, the key to the problem every time appears in decay rate algorithm. Peter took over the other party's words. This shocked Connors. The reason why Peter came here was to hear if the other party had any unique ideas. But obviously, Peter was much better than he expected. One sentence pointed out the key to the failure of the experiment. A high school student could actually say the decay rate algorithm, which shocked Connors. This is no longer knowledge that a high school student can master. In a sense, Peter is indeed a genius. Harry nodded lightly on the side, but he didn't understand anything. Decay rate algorithm? When did high school teach this kind of thing? Peter walked to a table. Find a piece of paper, b-day pen. Write a formula instantly. It's not that he is so smart, but after he traveled through this world and confirmed his identity as Peter Parker, he thought he must be Spider-Man. So he has been very interested in biology since he was a child. He has been studying for more than 10 years, partly because of ability, but more because of hard work. Connors put down the coffee cup silently and walked to the front of the calendar park. The moment he saw the formula, he felt an electric current passing through his mind. It was the excitement of a person trapped in the desert and seeing an oasis. He looked at the formula carefully, and then his eyes were on Peter's face. A rare genius. Peter, how did you do it? Peter was afraid that he would be too high profile and hurt Conkus's self-esteem. So he pointed to his head. Formulas and the like are definitely thought out. Could it appear out of thin air? Harry Osborn also came over and asked. Dr. Conkus, is the company Peter wrote useful? Very useful. Connors gave a positive answer. Harry, Peter will definitely shine in the future, and he will definitely have extraordinary achievements. Connors did not hesitate to praise him. As a teacher, he was willing to see his juniors achieve greater glory. Peter, your talent is incredible. I have seen many outstanding people, but few are like you. In a sense, you have surpassed me. Harry was also very excited after hearing the news. It was not only the happiness of his childhood playmates' achievements, but also the gloating of his future destiny. Father, Norman Osborn, has been conducting research on biological gene transfer. The purpose is to cure the family's inherited diseases. Now this research has finally made progress. For Harry, this news was like a drowning man seeing a lifebuoy. As long as he grabs it, there is hope of survival. Without delay, several people immediately started research in the laboratory while they were excited. Connors fiddled with the instruments and explained. We have protein structure, ribosomal DNA, chromatography, and transgenic testing. He pointed to a huge amount of instruments. That is an X-ray imager, the only one in the world, and next to it is a human spectrum identifier, the Canary device. The principle is very simple. Load an antigen on it, and the reaction cloud it creates can cover the entire city. In theory, you can cure polio in the entire city in one afternoon. Peter had an impression of this thing. In the movie, Conkus, who turned into a lizard man, attempted to use this device to genetically modify the entire population of New York. He attempted to make everyone complete their evolution and become lizards. Connors continued to explain. Some people are opposed to its use. What if this machine is loaded with some toxic substances? Those things are chemical weapons. Powerful chemical weapons. In theory, it can save a city of people, but it can also kill a city of people. After a short pause, the three began to fiddle with the computer model. The 3D holographic model projected an image of a lizard. Now enter the equation. Connors operated the machine and typed a long string of code on the computer. On the 3D model display, a model of a mouse with 10 main legs appeared. Replace protein and eliminate immune response. The model immediately began to evolve according to the instructions. Demonstration. Demonstration. The equation was calculated successfully. The mouse with a broken leg in the image grew a new forelimb. Various data were displayed beside him. Life is stable, blood pressure is normal, and the broken limbs have been regenerated successfully. Connors had tears in his eyes. For many years, his experimental progress has been stuck at this step. There has been no progress. Now it has finally succeeded. The next step is the specific biological experiment. Peter left Osborn Company, and Harry wanted to send him off, but he refused. Just left Osborn Company. The voice of the system suddenly rang in my ears. Your cumulative favorability value has exceeded 10,000, and the sources include but are not limited to Gwen, Otto Octavian, Tony Stark, Harry Osborn, Kurt Connors. You have obtained an ability upgrade. Jack Shen's chewing gum, original skill description. I will definitely return it to you, a disposable consumable. Chewing gum during combat, there is a certain chance to obtain an item from the enemy. Skill description after upgrade. I will definitely return it to you. A disposable consumable, chewing gum during combat. There is a 100% chance to obtain a skill from the enemy, and the usage period is permanent. Note, skills are acquired randomly and cannot be selected. Then if I fight with Superman, is it possible to get his Iron Man? No, I will be killed by him in one move. Peter laughed at himself. At the same time, on the other side of New York City, a tall man appeared in Stark Industries. He looks exactly like Tony Stark. His real identity is Dimitri, and people who have seen him call him Chameleon. He has a good fighting ability, and the most deadly thing is that he can imitate anyone, whether it is voice, appearance, or even height. There is no flaw. A few years ago, he sneaked into the United States and came to New York to work under Kingpin. Recently, a Punisher suddenly appeared in New York, which ruined Kingpin's business. He received Kingpin's commission to investigate the true identity of the Punisher. From the information released publicly, only 2 people have had contact with the Punisher. One is Spider-Woman, who is also a superhero who has become famous in New York recently. But like the Punisher, she also wears a mask, and no one knows her identity, so there is no way to investigate. Another person who has contact with the Punisher is Tony Stark. This playboy admitted in public that it was the Punisher who rescued him from the terrorist's nest. So if you want to investigate the true identity of the Punisher, you must start with him. At this moment, Pepper in front of the Chameleon was confused by the disguise and thought he was the real Tony Stark. Pepper, the Punisher saved my life. I think I should give back. After all, if it weren't for him, I might have died a long time ago. Pepper was a little helpless. You can't find him, and didn't you give that kid 100 million? It's a report. Chameleon was stunned. That kid. Peter. You are not drunk, are you? Pepper rolled her eyes at her former boss and current boyfriend. Honey, I have been in a state of confusion recently. Can you tell me Peter's address? I have to go there in person to thank him. Pepper felt very strange. She had never seen such a strange Tony, but she didn't think much about it, just regarded it as the sequelae of the battle between Tony and Ironmonger. So she told Chameleon where Peter lived. Unconsciously, she said, I am afraid that only that child in the world can find the Punisher. Hearing this, Chameleon immediately came up with a plan. Peter. Peter Parker? Just an ordinary person. He knows the whereabouts of the Punisher. Then as long as he threatens him and intimidates him, he can know the identity of the Punisher. Chameleon walked in front of Pepper, with a weird smile on his face. Sorry, honey, you should have a good sleep. After saying that, he immediately took out the spray in his hand and sprayed Pepper once, and she fainted. The Chameleon used neurotoxins, a chemical drug that will not hurt people, but can make people fall asleep. Without hesitation, he immediately took a car to the villa community where Peter lived. He transformed into Tony Stark again. The strange thing is that many crows appeared in the whole community. It was really surprising that crows appeared in the city, but the Chameleon ignored it. According to Pepper's instructions, he walked to the door of Peter's villa, cleared his throat and knocked on the door. Peter, wearing pajamas, opened the door from the inside, holding a piece of gum wrapper in his hand. 0145111415 follow 183180140. The moment he saw him, his eyes suddenly lit up. Mr. Stark. Good evening, Peter. There are some things I want to talk to you about the Punisher. He saved my life, and I have to show my appreciation. Peter raised his lips and chewed the mask candy in his mouth vigorously. Come in, come in. The two sat on the sofa facing each other. I want to talk to you for a while, but my girlfriend will be back soon. FFLX. I'll just chat for a few words and then I'll leave. Chameleon said hurriedly. I want to ask, who is the real identity of the Punisher? Only when I know his information can I repay him better. Peter smiled slightly. The Punisher is me. Chameleon was stunned. Don't joke, Peter. I'm talking about something serious again. Peter's eyes were full of lightning. Who is kidding you? Chapter 65, Gaining the Chameleon Ability. Kingpin is helpless, and Gwen's good deeds are interrupted. Uneasy emotions immediately surged into Chameleon's heart. The moment he saw Peter's eyes flashing with lightning, he understood something. This guy, he doesn't know the Punisher? He is the Punisher himself? Although Chameleon has the ability to change his appearance, his physical fitness is that of an ordinary person, and he is definitely not a match for Superman. At this moment, his hand is firmly on the sleeping potion. He pretends to be calm on his face. After all, he is now wearing the face of Tony Stark. Oh, my God. Peter, you are the Punisher. It's so shocking. Peter watched the other party's performance quietly. From the moment this guy appeared at the gate of the community, his whereabouts had been controlled by Peter through the Night Raven. With Tony Stark's personality, he would most likely fall from the sky in armor and casually pose in a handsome pose. At the very least, he would have to drive a luxury car over. And he would never tiptoe over the fence like this guy in front of him. Spider telepathy gave a warning as soon as this guy entered the door. Peter judged that the guy in front of him should be Chameleon. In the movie, this villain did not appear, but he does exist in the animation. Peter, I think we need to have a drink. Chameleon smiled and stood up, raised his hand suddenly, and sprayed the sleeping spray towards Peter. I didn't expect that the famous Punisher was actually a high school student. I will take you back. Kingpin will be very happy. Poison resistance +1. Peter, who has the ability to resist poison, was not affected at all before Chameleon took action. Spider telepathy did not give any hints, which means that the opponent's attack was ineffective. You seem to be happy a little too early. Peter grabbed Chameleon's neck and took him out of the villa and flew high into the sky. Chameleon was terrified and couldn't stop shaking. How could this be possible? The potion he used was specially formulated? Not to mention humans, even dinosaurs would fall asleep after taking a sip. And this guy in front of him was fine. This doesn't make sense. This is impossible. He couldn't stop shaking. No one knew the Punisher's methods better than him. He investigated the bodies that died at the hands of the Punisher. Everyone died in a very miserable way. Thinking of this, thinking that he might become such a body, Chameleon began to regret it. Damn it! What on earth was he thinking? Why did he come here to investigate such a terrifying guy? As a former bear agent, Chameleon has performed many tasks and faced danger for a long time, which made him have a calm heart. Peter, listen, Peter, I won't tell anyone about this. As long as you let me go, I promise. I'm also doing things for others, there's no need to risk my life. Give me a chance. It was Jinbing who asked me to come here. I can be your spy, and I will pass on any news he has in the future to you. I'm useful to you. Peter chuckled. Jinbing, I'll go find him. I don't need you. After saying this, lightning flashed in his eyes. The laser seemed to be about to be fired in the next second. The fear in the chameleon's heart was beyond description. Even in the sub-zero temperature at high altitude, he was sweating all over due to nervousness. At the same time, the disguise on his face was no longer under control, and the chameleon's face began to change into various appearances. Please, Peter, let me go. I won't go against you. Please. A flash of lightning pierced through the night sky. The chameleon's head looked like a rotten persimmon. Peter threw it away. A red blood bubble immediately appeared on a remote road. This was the body of the chameleon. You have killed the chameleon and obtained its ability. You can disguise yourself as anyone. This ability has been upgraded. You can disguise the other person's voice, appearance, height, and other external features without external assistance. Peter returned home. Standing in front of the full-length mirror, he imagined what Gwen looked like in his mind. Blonde hair, blue eyes, 1.7 meters tall, and a rather plump figure. Peter's skin began to wriggle, and it took only a few moments. In the mirror in front of Peter, Gwen's image appeared. They were exactly the same, with no difference at all. It's time to give the Punisher a new identity. As Peter's strength increases, more and more people pay attention to the Punisher. There will be more troubles to deal with in the future. Maybe the Punisher has been targeted by S.H.I.E.L.D or some other organization. Since the chameleon can find Peter Parker, it's possible that others can find this place. So Peter Parker must not have too deep a connection with the Punisher. For someone like Kingpin, if he knew Peter's true identity, he would inevitably threaten his family. Don't think that the Mafia and people who engage in violent activities are so good. They engage in violent activities and often do everything they can to achieve their goals. Peter looked in the mirror. He pinched himself a thin face, fierce eyes, white hair, and a face that looked like it was not easy to mess with. Herman Dante. As a bad namer, Peter could only split and reorganize the names of the games he played in his previous life. From now on, Herman Dante is the true identity of the Punisher. As for Peter Parker, he is just a genius high school student. Thinking of this, he went out immediately. Kingpin, right? Let's go talk to him now. In a luxurious manner in Manhattan, New York. Kingpin, wearing a white suit, sat at the head of an extended dining table. The table was full of candles, and the knife and fork were cutting the grilled steak. At the moment, the eyes of this gangster emperor looked a little more gentle. Opposite him were his wife and children. To be precise, it was a portrait of his wife and children. 014511415 Philo 183180330 Boss, I brought his head. Suddenly, a henchman came in with a bleeding head in his hand. This man owed Jinbing money. Jinbing instantly raged. I said, not a drop of blood is allowed here. Jinbing stood up angrily, walked directly to his younger brother, and stretched out his hand to embrace this guy. A crackling sound rang out. The younger brother's internal organs were all shattered, and even a few bones were broken. Jinbing looked quite fat, as if he was a patient with 3 highs. But in fact, this huge amounts of body fat content is only 2%. His muscle density is extremely high. Even if a bullet hits his body, it is difficult to penetrate. The housekeeper hurriedly asked someone to clean up the blood in the room, and then left quickly. Jinbing was left alone in the entire restaurant. He sat back in his seat, saw the photo of his deceased wife, sighed and said, sorry, Vanessa, I promise not to let you see any bloody scenes. Yes, she really can't see it, because she died a long time ago. Suddenly a cold voice sounded. Jinbing was shocked. In fear, he stood up suddenly. He slapped the table and almost broke it. A strange man appeared in his sight. White hair, blue eyes, wearing a windbreaker, giving people a fierce temperament, as if he would draw a gun in the next second. He was Peter's disguised identity, German Dante. Who are you? Jinbing is the underground emperor of the New York gang. Showing the proper reaction, he was panicked but did not show it. Who am I? Aren't you looking for me? Jinbing was stunned. You are the Punisher. In the past 2 months, the crime rate in New York has reached the lowest level in history. It's all related to the man in front of him. This caused Jinbing to lose a lot of money. Punisher, I'm looking for you, but I didn't expect you to take the initiative to appear in front of me. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Jinbing sat back in his seat, with anger in his eyes that was difficult to hide. But at this moment, he didn't dare to act rashly. After all, he didn't have the ability to kill the Punisher, but the other party could kill him easily. In this regard, he could only pretend to be calm. German Dante showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth. He looked at the portrait of Jinbing's deceased wife Vanessa and said, "If you want to kill me, you must have this ability. Even if you let 10 or 100 men with Gatling guns shoot at me at the same time, I can guarantee that they will be the ones who die in the end. Besides, haven't you killed enough people? I don't need to repeat why Vanessa died." Jinbing's broad hands clenched into fists. "Don't mention my wife in front of me." When Jinbing killed someone before, he was caught by his wife and children. She couldn't believe that her husband, who was obviously an entrepreneur, was actually doing the heavy work of killing people behind the scenes. They fled in panic and were eventually hit and killed by a moving car. This is also the reason why Jinbing asked people to study multi-universe. He missed his wife too much. Since Vanessa in this world is dead, then bring another one back from another world? Create a world with Vanessa. Wilson, what are you afraid of facing? Peter looked at him and said coldly, "She died because of you, you should accept it. Imagine the bad things you have done in your life. On the surface, you look like a prosperous entrepreneur, but in fact you are the biggest villain in New York. Flour, guns, prostitutes, gambling. All controlled by you. Maybe your wife is helping you atone in hell." Peter mercilessly revealed Kingpin's scars. "Shut up." Peter's words pierced Kingpin's heart like nails. "What is your purpose? Are you here to kill me?" Peter stood up and walked directly in front of Kingpin. "You sent Vulture and Chameleon to try to get them to deal with me." Kingpin was stunned. Cold sweat broke out on his back. You know everything. Dash. There is nothing I don't know. I hope this is the last time. Otherwise, next time we meet, I promise to tear off your head and put it in front of Vanessa's portrait. I won't kill you today. I just don't want the New York gangs to be in chaos without your rule. By then, those criminals will only become more unscrupulous. Definitely, if you annoy me again. I don't care about these things." Peter put a note in front of Kingpin. "It's my name and a photo of me. I need an ID. I also need a house. You have to help me take care of these things." Kingpin was furious. He was full of anger, but the moment he saw German Dante's eyes, he suppressed it again. This man is really too powerful. So powerful that even the king of the underground in New York dare not offend him easily. But he still said with dissatisfaction, "You killed my people and affected my business. Now you want me to get you a fake identity and a house. Who do you think I am?" Peter walked up to Kingpin and looked him in the eye. "Sorry, Wilson, I think you misunderstood me. I'm not discussing this with you. If you don't do what I gave you, then you have no value to me. A worthless person, a sinful person. I won't feel guilty killing you." Kingpin was obviously shocked by Peter's aura. He sat down again slowly and picked up the note on the table. Tomorrow you will get a new ID card and a 2-story house. If you need, I can even arrange 10 beauties for you in the house. For my sincerity, I hope you won't interfere with my business anymore." Peter smiled slightly. "Then you have to keep a low profile." After that, Peter left Kingpin's house directly. It was not a pity for Peter that Kingpin was not killed. After his death, the underground criminal forces in New York will be unrestrained, and a large number of criminal activities will definitely occur in a short period of time. After Kingpin's death, it is very likely that Silver will appear. Instead of that, it is better to keep him and let him work for himself. A superhero may kill Kingpin, but Peter is not a superhero, he only works for himself. Your fear value has reached 10,000. Fear value comes from Vulture, Rhino, Chameleon, Green Goblin, Penguin, Dr. Octopus. You will get a random reward. You got the Chicken Talisman, permanent. Long-term task, collection of zodiac signs. I have everything I need, 4/12. Peter was immediately happy. The Chicken Talisman was exactly what he lacked. For the past month, he has been relying on flight potions, and the points for redeeming this potion increase exponentially. The first time only required 50, then 100, then 200, 400, and 800. If the Chicken Talisman does not come again, he will be bankrupt. At noon the next day, Peter appeared as Herman Dante. Kingpin gave him a key and an ID. In the future, when facing those superheroes, he will appear as Herman. Thanks to Chameleon for giving him the ability to transform before he died. 0145114115 Philo 183180330. Gwen and Peter were curled up on the sofa on the weekend. Although George did not allow Gwen and Peter to live together, the passion of the young couple was something that he, an old father, could not stop. Gwen took a shower, dried her hair, and sat directly on Peter. "I'm ready, Peter." "What? That's it. We are boyfriend and girlfriend, it's okay." After saying that, Gwen unbuttoned her shirt. Peter immediately felt the blood rushing up. He could no longer hold it back. He started fighting directly on the sofa. "Oh my god, Peter." It was obvious that even Spider-Man could not withstand such an attack. Gwen's body softened directly. It seemed that she had become a spider in the eyes of a gecko, and she would only be eaten in the battle. The sun was hanging in the sky at noon, and the battle ended only when it set. Gwen was red all over. Peter was also exhausted. After dinner in the evening, the two who had already had close contact were ready to do it again. But at this moment, the spider telepathy of the two sounded at the same time. Then there was the sound of car horns outside the community. Peter, I suddenly remembered that I have something to do and I have to go home. Gwen cursed in her heart. Why did it happen at this time? She felt that she didn't play well at noon, and thought about winning a game in the evening. As a result, something happened outside at this time. Although she didn't want to go, she wanted to stay here and continue playing poker with Peter. But as a superhero, she has the responsibility to deal with the chaos. Chapter 66, The Lizardman is awakened, and S.H.I.E.L.D. Black Widow comes to visit. The computer simulation experiment excited Connors's quiet heart. He immediately prepared the gene drug and injected it into the mice with broken limbs. The effect was better than he expected. The experiment was successful. The formula provided by Peter played a key role, at least it was a major breakthrough in the experiment. Normally, human experiments can only be carried out after a period of time after biological experiments. After all, there are still many risks. The mice in the experiment also need to be observed. This includes the DNA sequence of integrate between different species, and biological stability. After many studies and calculations, Conkas could not find any abnormalities at all, so the serum with lizard genes was injected in advance. He has been waiting for this day for more than 20 years, but it does not mean that he can wait another hour. Anyway, this experiment still needs human bodies, so let him be the first experimental subject. After injecting the lizard serum, Connors fell into a coma. His consciousness gradually blurred, and when he woke up again, he found that his right hand, which had long been away from him, appeared on his body again. He could clearly perceive the existence of each finger. Huge amounts of joy made him cry uncontrollably. The arm that had disappeared for many years actually grew back. With this point, he could win this year's Nobel Prize. It can make more disabled people perfect. Look at this arm, how perfect and beautiful it is. However, before Connors had more time to appreciate the arm, he felt hungry. Energy cannot be generated out of thin air. Now that a new arm has grown, it must consume a lot of energy in the body. Orson ran to the refrigerator and devoured everything he could eat. Bread, hamburgers, and milk. Where is the meat? Why is there no meat? Connors roared, feeling endless anger accumulated in his heart. He punched hard, 3, 6, 7 and smashed the refrigerator to pieces. The light on the desk reflected Connor's shadow at this moment. His body became extremely strong and tall, just like a monster. There was a huge amount of tail behind him, as if it could destroy everything. At this moment, Connors had completely lost his wits and turned into a complete monster. His glasses were blown up by his enlarged head. The human head turned into a lizard head. The palms turned into sharp claws. At this moment, the gentle Dr. Conkas completely turned into a terrifying lizard man. The nature of animals was playing tricks in his body. He jumped from the Osborn Company building. Poor Osborn Company, after Norman Osborn became Green Goblin, once again ushered in a stock crash. The lizard man caused a huge sensation on the road, and the New York police immediately sent police to arrest him, but the bullets could not cause any harm to this guy. Even if it caused harm, the characteristics of the lizard would allow him to recover and heal in a very short time. The lizard man fled all the way, jumping a ridiculous distance, running all the way to the gate of Peter's community, disturbing the sweet world of Gwen and Peter. Hungry? So hungry. The lizard man who lost Connors's mind completely exposed his brutal side. He grabbed a passerby, opened his mouth wide, and was about to eat the other's head. Hey, big guy, eating people is wrong. Gwen, who had changed into combat clothes, appeared in time, and cobweb tightly blocked the mouth of the lizard man. Saving the innocent passerby also attracted all the hatred of this big monster. Gwen originally planned to fight the lizard man in close combat, but at noon today, she broke something very important. She even bled. Even though she has a Superman-like body, there are certain physiological things that must be followed. To be honest, her legs are weak now, and she staggers when she walks, even a little angry. But obviously, compared to her being disturbed, the lizard man was more angry. This green monster burst out with amazing jumping ability, flew directly, and bit Gwen repeatedly. Gwen dodged immediately. It is obvious that lizards have more powerful strength than spiders. The deadly claws and teeth can easily split Gwen in half. Don't let him touch it. Gwen flew in the air, used cobweb to stick a fire hydrant, and swung it hard on the lizard man's head. This move obviously slowed down the lizard man and caused him damage, but not much. The lizard man swung his tail with huge amounts of power and hit Gwen directly. If it were an ordinary person, this attack would be enough to cause internal injuries to people, the kind that would break their internal organs. Gwen was not feeling well either. She was whipped and flew far away. The lizard man jumped up and followed closely, opening his ferocious mouth and biting Gwen's head off. Gwen reacted quickly, holding the opponent's jaw with both hands. Ugly thing, how long have you not brushed your teeth? The two of them were in a stalemate, but Gwen was obviously the one who lost. Compared to the lizard, the spider is slower. Peter, who had been watching for a long time, finally took action. He was suspended in the air with the cold and fierce face of German Dante. The lightning shot out of his eyes and hit the back of the lizard man. It didn't penetrate, but it made the lizard man extremely painful, like a steel needle piercing the softest part. The lizard man roared and turned around suddenly, trying to solve the bigger trouble behind him. But it was obviously a wrong idea. Peter can fly. The electric eyes continued to output constantly. After almost consuming the lizard man, Peter fell from the sky with his fist facing down and punched the lizard man. The huge amounts of power made the opponent fly out, and he hit the wall hard, smashing the wall behind him. The lizard man suffered huge amounts of damage, but he could quickly repair his injuries. Peter stood in front of him and waited for him. He punched him when he pounced, and punched him when he pounced. Peter, who had the power enhancement of the bull spell, was least afraid of fighting these monsters. The huge amounts of impact force beat the lizard man beyond recognition. 014511415 Philo 183180540. Since this monster has lost its mind, Peter doesn't mind using the most primitive way to make the lizard man recall the instinct of living things. Fear? Thanks to the movie I watched in my previous life. The purple potato spirit fights the Hulk. The invincible Hulk was directly beaten into autism, shrinking in his body and not daring to come out. The same is true for the lizard man. Every time he is beaten by Peter, Connors's sanity will be restored a little. If it weren't for the effect of the lizard serum, the lizard man would even want to retreat directly into Conka's body. The current situation is not a fight between the two sides, but a one-sided bullying. Who can withstand such an attack? As Connors's reason prevailed, he quickly said, "Quick, Punisher, keep hitting me. I can feel that the monster is scared." With Peter's character, he might stop and then comfort him. But he is now German Dante. "Since you are looking for a fight, I will naturally not refuse." Every punch hit the lizard man hard. Until Connors's reason returned, he could no longer bear it and cried out in pain. Don't. Punisher, I'm back to my senses." It seems that Peter's fist not only caused the lizard man to have primitive fear, but also had an effect on Con Orson. Peter said in the cold voice of German Dante, "Con Orson, I will give you two choices now. First, die. I want to hear the second one." Con Orson, who gradually regained his human form, panted and leaned against the ruins. "Second, go to Gotham and continue your research. From your performance today, the lizard serum can heal people. At least the direction is right. But the serum needs to be improved. Next you will be arrested by the New York police, and then Osborn will rescue you. Although you have caused significant property damage, fortunately no one was injured." After saying this, Peter flew away. What happened next was almost the same as Peter expected. Connors was arrested by the police, and Harry Osborn bailed him out. After all, for Harry, this is genetic modification. The only hope for survival. Although Connors injected the drug and turned into a lizard man, the direction is right. On the night when the lizard man was in chaos, Gwen and Peter fought again. As two people with strengthened bodies, there are more postures than ordinary people. Because of the whole night of fighting, both of them asked for leave from school the next day. A few days later, Osborn Company. Harry Osborn stopped Connors, who was about to leave. "Dr. Connors, I don't understand. Why are you leaving? The experiment has been successful. Why do you want to leave at this time?" Connors sighed. "Harry, you are wrong. The experiment did not succeed. We all know what happened that day. My arm did recover briefly because of the lizard serum, but it is obvious that the harm is greater. I know that feeling, watching another self controlling the body, but unable to do anything. Compared to becoming disabled, I don't want to become a monster." Harry hurried to Connors. He said sincerely, "Doctor, even if the experiment failed, our direction is correct. Osborn can provide you with strong financial support, and you can continue your research. This time, make some changes, only keep the arm, and don't turn into a monster. Develop in this direction, it will definitely succeed." Connors smiled bitterly. "Harry, this is impossible, at least not now. I conducted a new experiment, this time locking myself in a tempered glass hand that is fully enclosed on all sides. After re-injecting the serum, although there was no loss of reason, but it still turned into a monster." After speaking, Connors patted Harry on the shoulder, shook his head and left. But Connors did not intend to give up this research. He would continue this work for the rest of his time. But he could not continue to stay at Osborn. This would bring trouble to Harry. The stock price of Osborn had almost hit the bottom because of the lizard man incident. Connors was too embarrassed to stay any longer. "I heard that there was a rich man in Gotham, and maybe he could seek his funding." In the blink of an eye, the autumn in New York was completely over. The first snow fell quietly. Peter and Gwen walked on the streets of New York in thick coats. "Peter, who cut your hair? I should go find that barber." Gwen was obviously not satisfied with Peter's new hairstyle. Peter shrugged his shoulders. "Haircut is gambling, and he lost this time. Fortunately, he is very good looking and can handle any hairstyle. Would you like to come to my house tonight to celebrate your admission to college?" My mother made lemon sea base. During this period, the two of them took the exam and successfully entered the Imperial University. And they have been studying in the university for a while. Fortunately, the Imperial University is also in New York. Although it is far from Peter's residence, Peter is not short of money now. He rented a 2-story independent apartment near the school. Otherwise, he and Gwen would live in the dormitory. They can only go to the hotel to enjoy their married life on weekends. Peter and Gwen have always had a good relationship, and since something beyond friendship happened, they have been inseparable. However, the school is on vacation during this period, and Gwen wants to go home for a few days. Peter shook his head helplessly. "Not today, I have to go to Stark Industries later. Mr. Stark wants to see me. Although I don't want to go." "Who is the one who provided the villa we live in now?" Gwen nodded. It seems that my boyfriend is very valued by this Iron Man. The two kissed for a while on the street. If it weren't for something happening later, then it is estimated that in an hour, the floor of the house would be full of scattered clothes of the two. Then Peter, I'll go back first. Peter sent Gwen to the car, and he also rushed to Stark Industries. He did want to see Tony, but not as Peter Parker, but as German Dante. Yesterday, Tony found Peter. The purpose was to meet the Punisher. Although Peter didn't know what his purpose was, but he still agreed. After all, he also had something to remind this playboy. For example, according to the plot of the movie, at the moment, Tony should be deeply affected by palladium poison. He made a reactor with palladium under the hands of terrorists, and it was this thing that saved his life. Now this thing is waiting to kill him. But there is no way the reactor using palladium will kill him. If he doesn't use it, he will die immediately. Peter appeared in Stark Industries as Gearman. Under the guidance of the front desk, he walked into Pepper's office. Now the whole company is under her control, and Tony handed over the highest authority to her. Punisher. Pepper was shocked when she saw the white-haired Gearman Dante. In recent months, Peter no longer wears a mask, but shows himself as Gearman. It is not surprising that Pepper can recognize him. Good afternoon, Miss Pepper. Tony found me through Peter. I hope he has something important. My time is precious. Facing this cruel criminal killer. 014511415 Philo 183180540. Pepper was obviously a little overwhelmed. Tech. I'll go find Tony now. Miss Pepper obviously didn't want to stay with a killer like Herman, which made her feel very stressed. Soon, Tony in a suit appeared. Behind him was a lady with brown-red hair, a rather plump figure, and a secretary's uniform. She looked like Tony's helper, but Peter knew her true identity. Natasha Romanoff belonged to S.H.I.E.L.D. Codename Black Widow, a beautiful agent who knows 6 languages. The reason why she was with Tony was because Nick Fury wanted to recruit him into the Superman Alliance. That is, the so-called Avengers. You'd better have something important to do, Peter said coldly. Is it not possible to have a drink with you if it's not important? You are my lifesaver. What do you do? Is there anything more important than meeting a super rich man? Psychologist. Peter said coldly. You can think of me as a psychologist. Tony took out a bag of cookies from somewhere and asked while eating. Aren't all psychologists kind-hearted big sisters? Can you really get into the patient's heart like this? Stark, you are more talkative than I thought. Peter complained in his heart and continued. It is obvious that you don't understand this profession. I don't need to get into their hearts. I just need to cure their diseases. But Mr. Stark, your body is full of palladium metal. This psychologist can't cure you? Chapter 67 Tony, my kidneys are fine. Natasha Romanoff's psychological consultation fee. This sentence instantly depressed Tony's mood. At this moment, a large amount of palladium has appeared in his blood. These heavy metal elements are all over his body, flowing in his blood vessels, flowing into his heart, and then flowing out of his heart. If this problem is not solved, then Iron Man, who has just been on the hot search in various countries, will soon exit the stage of history in a ridiculous manner. Peter carelessly rubbed salt into Tony's wounds. He was originally a complicated person. He is friendly, helpful, and loyal to his feelings. He is also the one who kills people like crazy, with vicious means and a lot of tricks. It's just that he chooses to face the people around him with a friendly attitude. But when facing others as Herman, it is inevitable that some darker potential will be exposed. Tony forced a smile and glanced at Natasha Romanoff behind him. Don't tell Pepper about this. He didn't know the true identity of Natasha Romanoff at this moment. He knew that this woman was not simple, but he didn't expect that she was from S.H.I.E.L.D. Got it, Mr. Stark. Natasha Romanoff responded, but her eyes were all on Herman. This cold man made her feel a desire to explore for the first time in a long time. She couldn't wait to know everything about this man. She looked at Peter, and Peter looked at her. I have to remind you, Miss Natasha Romanoff, don't look into the eyes of a psychologist, otherwise your secrets will be known. Since Peter decided to let Herman deal with this group of superheroes under the guise of Herman, he had to add more resumes to this disguise. Psychologists are a good choice. After all, Peter knows most of the plots of Marvel and DC. He knows the entire resume of each superhero. When he gets along with them in this identity, he feels a little more like a charlatan. Natasha Romanoff did not look away, still staring at Peter. It must be said that Black Widow at the moment is the most beautiful period, with collagen all over her face, very shiny, and a pretty good figure. You look at me like this, it makes me very embarrassed. Peter was a little embarrassed, but he was wearing the pseudonym of Herman, and Peter defined this identity as being sharp-tongued, cold, and ruthless. So he had to do something that fits this pseudonym's personality. Ms. Natasha Romanoff, it seems that you really want to have a psychotherapy. My consultation fee is very expensive, 1 million per hour. It can be seen that you are not a person who is willing to show your inner thoughts, and you are always vigilant even to your boss Tony. But this is normal. No subordinate will treat his boss as a human being, especially this boss is a playboy. Tony quickly interrupted Peter. Watch your words, don't let Pepper hear this, I'm no longer dating those models. Peter looked at Tony. Mr. Stark, I can not only say that there are heavy metals in your blood, but I can also say that your kidneys seem to have problems. I advise you to try not to indulge too much. After all, the reactor on your chest can't charge your kidneys. Tony retorted immediately. Shut up. What's your name? Forget it, you white-haired mafia, you are slandering me, my kidneys are fine. They are very good and healthy. When it comes to male dignity, Tony can no longer stand the man in front of him. His mouth is more poisonous than his own. Almost every word will make people angry. Herman Dante. Natasha Romanoff reminded on the side, and then the slender beauty could no longer bear it. She asked Peter, Mr. Herman, are you so confident in your analysis? Peter's face did not change. Many people have questioned me like this, but they all apologized for their behavior in the end. Ms. Natasha Romanoff, I don't mind continuing to do psychological analysis for you, but whether you can listen to it is another matter. Natasha Romanoff put down the documents in her hand, and the expression on her face seemed to say, please speak. Peter chuckled and said, where were we talking just now? By the way, you are on guard against everyone. It's not difficult to judge this. Since I walked in, you have been holding your hands in front of your chest. Psychologically, this is a sign of defense. It can't be that your chest is too big. Thank you for the compliment. Natasha Romanoff's mouth corners slightly raised. Obviously, Peter's presumptuous words can't hurt her. Don't worry, I haven't finished speaking yet. Peter continued. A person's character originates from childhood. If a child is not suppressed in childhood, he will most likely be a confident person in the future. Similarly, Miss Natasha Romanoff, I can see that your childhood was not unfortunate, and your parents may have passed away a long time ago. Or, everything you had in your childhood was fake. Peter's words made Natasha Romanoff's face change. Yes, it's useful to be told. Natasha Romanoff did have an unfortunate childhood. She was born in a bear that had not yet disintegrated. Her parents had died long ago. Her adoptive father and mother were both agents. All her happiness was a lie. Later, she and her sister were all sent to a place called the Red House for agent training. Inhumane training? Ms. Natasha Romanoff, I don't think I need to do more analysis. Your micro-expressions are enough to make me sure that I am right. Natasha Romanoff smiled slightly. Mr. Herman, I didn't expect that under your cold appearance, you have a delicate heart. After saying that, she left directly. Before leaving, she passed by Peter and gently tapped his shoulder with her fingers. Tony couldn't help but feel jealous when he saw this scene. She has been working for me for 2 weeks and has always avoided me. And you, she just met you once and actually made a move. If I wasn't there, she might have asked you to write your phone number on her shoulder strap. Peter sat upright and continued to talk to Tony with Herman's attitude. I must remind you, Mr. Stark, there should be a minimum respect for people. And Natasha Romanoff made the right decision. After all, Miss Pepper is her boss now. In addition, if Miss Pepper knew that her boyfriend was thinking about other women. Stop it. Tony said quickly. I have changed my ways. Do you know how many women have wanted to sleep with me in the past few months? I ignored them all. Is it necessary to say this? Peter complained in his heart. Then he responded. You don't need to tell me about your private life. You might as well think about how to solve the problem of palladium poisoning. The content of palladium in your blood does not need to reach 100%. You will die if it is 70%. Tony was even more troubled. Do you think I don't want to? Am I the kind of person who knows I am going to die but does nothing? I have tried, but there is no way. There is no element in nature that can replace palladium. Peter sighed. You haven't tried them all. Your father left you an important fortune, but you haven't discovered it yet. Don't worry, you won't die. Someone doesn't want you to die. The people of S.H.I.E.L.D have already set their sights on Iron Man and will definitely take action when necessary. S.H.I.E.L.D has a plan to form a Superman alliance long ago, dating back to the time of Captain America. Unfortunately, Captain America was frozen for several years, and the plan was shelved. Now the plan has been restarted, and Iron Man is one of the main targets. Peter has reason to suspect that he and Gwen are also targets for recruitment. Maybe Tony asked him to come to Stark Industries this time. Nick Fury is behind the scenes to help. Peter stood up from the sofa and asked seriously. So, why did you call me here? Tony sighed and said. As you can see, I am going to die. The palladium in my body will soon make me dizzy and die of shock. But Stark Industries is the life's work of my father and me, especially the research I made. Tony pointed to the reactor on his chest. Many people want this, including my company. But I don't trust them. Tony Stark no longer trusts anyone after the backstab of the economic Obadiah. Especially after seeing some people use the weapons they made to kill civilians. He is very worried that Stark Industries will be used after his death. So, Mr. Gearman, I want to protect Stark Industries. Although the reports about you outside are all negative, I know you are a good person and you have never done anything to civilians. You want me to be a bodyguard here. Peter said in a deep voice. You don't know me, let alone what kind of person I am. I can do whatever I want, and I can also not do what I don't want to do. I have no interest in protecting your industry. That's it for tonight. I don't want to waste time here. After saying that, Peter flew up directly, jumped down from the Stark building, and disappeared in the hustle and bustle of the city. At nightfall, Natasha Romanoff met Nick Fury in a hidden department in New York. The one-eyed bald black man was looking at a document. It contained information about German Dante. The document only had one piece of paper, or to be exact, only one line of words. German Dante, information? Nick Fury sighed and put the document on the table. Natasha Romanoff on the side glanced at it. No need to look at it, there is no information, even this name, I suspect it is fake. You have been in contact with him, how do you feel? Nick Fury looked at Natasha Romanoff with his only remaining eye. Natasha Romanoff sighed. Very powerful, I can't see through him, he said he is a psychologist, she can accurately predict my childhood. In short, I think he meets the standards of the Superman League. Nick Fury touched his big bald head. We have to get in touch with him again. After all, Mr. Herman's reputation is not very good. In recent months, countless thieves and car thieves have died at his hands. A few months ago, he also destroyed the New York branch of Vought Company. The Locomotive and the Deep Sea both died at his hands, and even Homelander couldn't beat him. But this is a good thing. I have long disliked Homelander and others. What superhero? It's better to call them super actors. Natasha Romanoff frowned when she heard the news. In her opinion, this is incredible. As an agent trained in the Red House, Natasha Romanoff can easily defeat 10 men in fighting. But compared with people with super abilities, even the Locomotive is no match for her. After all, that guy was too fast. In the end, he died at the hands of Herman? That means Herman is faster than a locomotive? It's unbelievable. It has to be admitted that this powerful and mysterious man deeply aroused Natasha Romanoff's curiosity. Have you investigated him? Natasha Romanoff asked. Nick Fury looked a little helpless. We investigated, but it's useless. Our agents don't even know when he goes out or when he goes home. In short, it's difficult to investigate such a fast person. Suddenly, his voice paused, and he changed the subject and continued. But it's not that there is nothing to discover. After investigation, it was found that this cold and silent Mr. Herman had some friendship with a high school student. Perhaps, we can start from this aspect. Speaking, Nick Fury took out another file. This time it was Peter Parker's file. Natasha Romanoff took the file and glanced at it. He was the first in Midtown Science and Technology High School and won $1 million bonus from Stark Industries. Later, due to some things, Tony Stark's villa worth tens of millions in Queens was transferred to his name. According to gossip media, Tony Stark may have recognized Peter as his godson. There is a 2-inch photo of Peter Parker on it. Natasha Romanoff glanced at it and put the file on the table. This kid is handsome, but too thin. Nick Fury smiled. That's his old photo. Now he looks like a different person, and he has become stronger. I suspect that the Punisher, that is, Herman, gave him some potions. Otherwise, there is no reason. If I could have such a body by fitness, I would have become a muscular man long ago. Come on, you are just lazy. Natasha Romanoff replied speechlessly. So, what are you going to do? Nick Fury said, I will go see the kid myself tomorrow. As for Herman, I'll leave this to you, me. Natasha Romanoff was stunned. Night, Queens. Peter's villa. Gwen went home, and he was alone tonight. I have to say that life with a girlfriend is really great. Especially when there is no shortage of money. But men also need their own time alone. Peter prepared a glass of red wine, 2 sausages, and a steak. He originally wanted to make some Chinese food, but it was too troublesome. He turned on the TV, leaned on the sofa, and was about to enjoy the food. Suddenly he was refreshed. A few kilometers away from the villa, there are 10 small villas. 0145114115 Philo 183190150. That was the residence that Kingpin had prepared for him before. Near the villa, Peter arranged a lot of night crows. They monitored everything around them almost without blind spots. From Night Crow's perspective, a beautiful girl with a slim figure, brown hair, and tights appeared near the villa. Damn it, you ruined my whole night. Can't we talk about it tomorrow? Peter complained. He quickly left the house and appeared a few kilometers away with German Dante's face on his face. Fortunately, he was very fast and entered the villa in almost a breath. Adjusting his posture, leaning on the sofa, turning on the TV, which was playing a meaningless soap opera. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Ms. Natasha Romanoff, don't you know that the night is a personal time? Hearing German's voice in the house, Natasha Romanoff was startled. How did he know I was here? Could it be that he installed a surveillance camera nearby? Natasha Romanoff pushed the door open and saw German Dante leaning on the sofa with his back to her. Sorry, I just want you to give me some psychological counseling. You don't have any psychological problems. Peter turned around, glanced at Natasha Romanoff, motioned her to sit down, and then walked to the wine cabinet to take out a bottle of red wine. I have to say that Jinbing is still very considerate. He said the most cruel words, but his body did the most cowardly things. Not only did he prepare a house for Peter, but even the things inside were all available. The red wine in the wine cabinet is also very valuable. I said, my consultation fee is very expensive. I wonder if you can accept 1 million hours a day. Natasha Romanoff pursed her lips. I can pay with other things.